Hi everybody, Rick Miller here with HIS Capital Group, and I am here actually with good friend Shawn. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here.
And the reason why we're here today is because really, even though we're investors and we're working together as clients, our main objective really is to invest with a purpose. And Shawn, not only have you started with us as an investor, but you have a really powerful mission that you're working on right now that's impacting lives and leaving legacies in the lives of so many people. And so what I want to do is just kind of share with the audience what got you involved with Manna Worldwide, and how did you get to Ukraine, and why are you so passionate about this mission?
Right. Well, back in 1995, a gentleman approached me and asked if I would be interested in taking a short-term mission trip to Ukraine, and God had already been working in my life and in my heart in regards to missions. I just didn't know what that looked like. I thought maybe I'm supposed to give more, or get to know the missionaries. I didn't have any idea. And I'd never been to Europe before either, so I'd lived all over the world and operated in Southeast Asia and lived overseas and been to Canada and Mexico. So I thought, you know what, God's doing this thing with missions, I'll explore that, and I've never been to Europe, so why not? So I told the guy, let's go. Where's Ukraine? I had no idea. So went to Ukraine, and while I was there, I figured out pretty quickly that God was doing something much, much larger than just me writing bigger checks or writing letters or something like that. And I came home and told my wife, I feel like God's moving us to make a permanent relocation to Ukraine. I just feel like, I told her this, if I don't go to Ukraine, I will be miserable for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And so I understood at that point, this is a calling from God. This is something that's way above anything that I've ever experienced or know how to do, but I just have to trust Him and go. So my wife and I prepared ourselves, got our Bible education, went to seminary, and then raised our support and went and lived on the field as church planting missionaries with the World Baptist Fellowship. And we're having a tremendous, tremendous ministry experience there. God was blessing in lots of different ways. Mm-hmm. And along the way, a lady called me and said, Shawn, would you drive us to the graduation ceremony for an orphanage in northern Ukraine? And that kind of stopped me in my tracks. I didn't really understand what she was talking about. I never really thought about the fact that orphans sometimes are not adopted and many times live their entire lives at an orphanage and never have a family experience of any kind. They never know who mom and dad is or what that's all about and what it's supposed to look like. And that grieved me and arrested me. And so I went with her, took her up there, and figured out something else along the way very quickly, that not only do these kids sometimes grow up their whole lives in an institution, but then once they leave, they have no support systems whatsoever, not from the government, not from anybody at all. They're completely and absolutely alone on the street. And to compound that and make it even worse, if that's not a really bad story, is the fact that the living conditions in the orphanages are terrible, just absolutely terrible. And so we kind of started this process as a humanitarian reaction. We thought, these kids need coats and shoes and bathrooms. But then when we learned on graduation day that there were people waiting for them to take advantage of their vulnerability and use them in human trafficking, in the sex trade, in the slave trade, and in the drug trade, that completely backed our program thought up and gave us a brand new vision for what we needed to accomplish to support these kids for their whole life. And so at that point, Manna Worldwide heard about, headquartered in Fort Worth, Texas, heard about our ministry services with orphans, and Bruce O'Neill, the founder and the president, came over with the team and interviewed us to see if we might be a good fit. And they began to resource our ministry at that point. I was not a part of Manna Worldwide. They were partnering with our ministry.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
On the field. Yeah, and so it just kind of grew from there.
That's amazing, and it's kind of shocking because when you really think about from the perspective of somebody who, like you said, they have nothing to fall back on. I mean, there isn't a friend or family member they can call and say, I need a place to sleep tonight. And so they're abandoned. And you're saying now that there are other people with ill will that are taking advantage of these people. And
yes, on a regular basis. And Eastern Europe and Eurasia, where I'm the director for Manna Worldwide, in addition to Southeast Asia, are probably the two hottest locations for not only destinations for foreign travelers to go and take advantage of those children, which is really perverted and sick.
Unbelievable.
But it's also one of the source areas, source regions that provide those types of children, boys and girls, for those type of patrons all over the world. And so they're exported and used until there's just nothing left. And so it's just a really bad situation.
Wow, and so walk me through, so now you've got Manna Worldwide, and we're getting involved as well as a part of it, which we're really honored to be a part of it. So what is it that you're doing right now to give a hand up in that community?
Okay, we work in a couple of different venues to try to provide support for these children while they're in crisis, transition them if they would like to, it's a volunteer program, into a family type home situation, introduce them to mom and dad and what that's supposed to look like, and then stay with them throughout the course of their life to provide higher level education, trade school degrees, university education, and then help them to become completely and absolutely stable, secure, and independent as adults on the other end. And so the approach is three-pronged, but the center, the core of everything we do is built around protecting these kids, preventing them from being trafficked. And the way that we do that is by building families. In order to build a family, you have to have a place for them to live. And so we have this concept that I came up with years ago called Bridge to Life homes. And so these homes with Christian moms and dads that love these kids, they have an adoptive spirit. They take permanent guardianship or adopt these children for themselves. They will take these children in as their sons and daughters and then stay with them for life. And so we build brick and mortar homes for these moms and dads and their families, and then support them and supply them everything that they need to focus on all of the needs of these children for their entire life. They otherwise would have no chance whatsoever. Only about 10% of the children that come out of the orphanage systems in Ukraine have any chance whatsoever of making it. Most of them go to the street. There are literally over 120,000 children that live on the streets of Ukraine, and more than 108,000 that live in the state-run facilities. And right now, UNICEF estimates more than 1 million children have been displaced because of the war with Russia. And so we're in crisis mode right now, and we're doing everything that we possibly can, but with the help of the government, the federal government of Ukraine, who has really invited us to develop these pilot programs alongside them, and with donor partners like churches in your company and other individuals that see this vision and want to help us. We're making great strides in building more of these homes as quickly as we can.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're it's interesting you said bridge, because I mean that's the core of our business is we provide bridge financing for assets that need a little bit of work before they become stabilized. And I can see the parallel, only with a much more powerful reasoning behind it, because obviously, like you said, we're getting involved in something that creates a home, the first layer of defense, if you will, for these children, with love and support to then raise them up. And are any of those children, I'm just curious now because you've been doing this for a while, when they get to the stage of stabilization and they grow through the process, isn't it true that some of them actually ultimately come back and want to become a foster parent as well?
Absolutely, they sure do. As a matter of fact, we have two young ladies right now, just to give you a real life and contemporary example. One of the young ladies, her name is Alina, and she came up through the entire program and lives at the Smile House in Ukraine, was raised there by good, godly parents. And she is going to school right now to be a lawyer for advocacy for the rights of children in Ukraine. And then another young lady named Yana, who grew up also in the Smile House, is studying to be a social psychologist to provide for the needs of children who have been traumatized by this lifestyle and are now trying to lead a better life. And so those kids come back and want to gain an education and serve in that way, not only in the nation, but with the family. Each one of our families not only ministers the needs of the children who are under their roof, but they also do regular outreach to provide services for children who are in crisis outside the home. And so all of those kids are experiencing on a daily basis giving back and serving other children in their community. And they're all involved at a very high level. And so it's just a good circular give back situation.
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited about going. I'm actually looking forward to actually experiencing it firsthand. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about as an investor, I constantly look, and literally my job is to say, if I sow this seed, what will it produce? And I got to make sure that we prepare the ground and that we water and that we make the perfect environment so that this will actually produce fruit for our investors. And one of the things for me, and that maybe I'm just callous at this point, because you can imagine people come to my office every day asking for a charity.
Yeah.
And you almost have to discern the difference between those that are just asking for charity and those who actually have a mission that God's putting you in alignment with, which is the case here with us. But what we've done because of this discussion, and as we were talking about it, is, we're developing a program so that investors like you may be listening right now, well, you don't have to give a donation. You can literally invest your money in projects that produce a return. And all we're asking is that out of that profit, you commit some of those proceeds to projects like this that are making an impact in the lives of so many people who desperately need it. I mean, these are people that are not born wealthy. They weren't born in the right environment. And it's not their choice. They were born under these circumstances. And if somebody doesn't stand in the gap, they have no hope. They have nothing to fall back on. So my prayer and my hope is that you will see our journey as we work together in Ukraine and as we expand, and that you'll be inspired to not only invest in your own future with your investments, but to make those profits invest in the future of so many other lives, because then it's a sustainable investment. A lot of times we talk about giving away the seed. Well, the problem when you give away the seed is you've got nothing left, right? But if you plant the seed and you grow it and that seed produces fruit, you have fruit that you can give.
That's called stewardship.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited about this. We're really looking forward to help support the mission, to create an awareness and be a part of it, firsthand on the field. And again, we really pray that we're able to inspire other listeners to really join us on this mission. And Shawn, thank you so much. I'm so blessed to have you. And is there anything else that you would say to somebody who's considering getting involved?
I would just highlight the fact that we take great pride as an organization in the fact that we're good stewards as well. We know that you're trying to take care of your families and take care of your business. We want to take care of God's business as well and God's kids that He's put under our care. And so as an organization, we committed more than 17 years ago to make sure that more than 90% of everything that comes in dedicated for the care of children goes directly to the field for that purpose. And so less than 10% is used for administration. And we take pride in being able to maintain that level of giving for all of these years. And the way that we're able to do that is a couple of different ways. One of which involves brand new partners and brand new donors, and that is the intentional engagement of our donor partners going to the field with us to not just see, but to participate in services for children that they're saving their lives. They'll actually be able to meet and know the names and the life stories of the children that they're saving, that they're rescuing. Right. And we depend upon those types of travelers. We'll take about 3,000 travelers this year from all of our donor base all over the world of 42 different countries to minister to the needs of their children. And so that's important for helping us offset costs, labor costs for construction and services provided. And then secondly, we work with existing assets on the field that don't need administrative salaries, and so we don't pay those overseas. What they want to do is provide more services in their community for children. So we work with people who already have that part taken care of. That's how we're able to get those funds directly to the children. And then thirdly, the directors like myself, including the president, we raise our own support for our families and for our work from outside sources, so it doesn't come from the donations that are going to the children. So we take great pride in that, and our 990s, our financials are all available online. You guys can have access to those, and we really want to just do the very, very best job we possibly can. We're always learning, we're always improving, and if you have any suggestions about how to do that, we would take that into consideration. But we want you to go to the field with us as quickly as possible and experience this for yourself, and then come back with a story that you can tell.
That's amazing. So again, guys, I want to encourage you guys to stay connected, see how we're doing it. And there's an old saying that actually I say all the time, and a lot of times you might be watching this, and this quote really will resound. And that is, you hear and you forget, you see and you can't remember, but when you do, then you fully understand. And that's really the objective that we have today, is we want to go there, we want to feel it with our own hands, we want to connect with the people, because then we get the heart of it, we fully understand the true picture, and then we can really invest in the future of that relationship. So thank you so much, Shawn. Again, we hope you guys will continue watching as we take this to the next level when we go to Ukraine.